Welcome. Friday, March 20th, episode number 299, Goose Drank Wine.
I don't even know this reference.
You don't need to. It's just some dumb
little
old
rhyme.
dumb old thing I made up. I hope everyone has had a great week and are ready for a good weekend.
How do I communicate with my children?
I mean, there is like that it's 369 Goose Drank Wine.
Really?
Yeah. You've never heard of 369 Goose Drank Wine?
No.
Seriously?
No, never. This is the first time. What? Cindy knows it.
Yes. I'm sure anyone, if you want me to, I'll put Jess's cell phone number in here. And you can all text her and tell her
You
about
can literally all text me. There are no
369
promises
Goose
about
Drink
any.
Wine. I don't know the rest. Maybe I'll have to find it.
Yes.
Hey, there's John.
I know. I got to see John. You got to see
You
John.
got to touch John
I know.
in real life.
In real life.
There's someone that wants wine.
Yeah.
So how is everyone? Great to see you. Episode 299, like I said. And for those of you new, welcome. If you're new, let us know you're new. Let us know where you're joining from. Jess, where are you today?
I don't know, but I feel like Sarah and Janae are in the same building because she just said, "Get up here, Janae." I'm home. I'm in Minneapolis. You are all correct. There's still snow on the ground in Minneapolis, and it's going to be 75 degrees tomorrow. And today is spring equinox. It's the first day of spring. So I think with the blizzard we got last weekend, the little bit of snow we have hanging on, I think tomorrow it's done and it's over and bring on spring and summer. I'm officially declaring it,
Very nice.
which is a brave thing to do in Minneapolis.
Yeah, we will schedule a Minneapolis meetup soon. I think that needs to be a mandatory thing, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Can we do it in Edina?
Yes. You know how I test if somebody's really been to Minnesota? They know how to say Edina, not Edina, and they know how to say Wayzata, not Wayzata.
Yeah.
Look at we have a lot of Lisa Sterling fans here in the chat.
Yeah, we do. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, including me. So
I know.
that's the only reason I'm here. I'm on vacation. Yeah, anyway, how's everyone? Green, yellow, red. Green, great. Yellow, so. Red, not so good. Love you to put in the chat. I am feeling a little bit yellowish today, but it has nothing to do with not being in a good mood. It just has to do with being tired. I 9 flights this week, and
Oh my God.
many of them delayed because of air issues. And thank you,
Yeah.
TSA, for working while you're not getting paid. I've tried to thank them many times. They really don't like being thanked, for those of you looking for a tip. Anyway, a lot of travel, but all worth it. How about you?
The week has gone so fast, I already forget how difficult it was for you to get from the Dominican Republic into Las Vegas in time for our workshop on Tuesday. That's how fast the week has gone. I'm green. I hear you on the tired thing. I have to say, like literally immediately after my responsibilities concluded yesterday, I think I went comatose and I was still standing and walking around. Like I still had to get to the airport and there were people on my flight that I knew very well and I didn't even recognize them. I was just I was just sort of like but I'm green. It was a fun week. It's always such great energy when you get out and about with everybody. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and you did an amazing job. Like, truly, you were a super person. So sorry to say Superman, but super person. You were super person.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it had nothing to do with me. It wasn't all about me. I really wanted to make sure everybody had the right experience, because when you invest your time and some company money or some personal money or whatever to go to an event like that, you are there to be inspired and to learn something and to be a part of a pretty special community. And I think when you're asked to host something like that, there's some responsibility for helping to create that magic for everybody. And it was fun to do. It was, hi, Madan. It was an honor to do. It takes a lot of your energy to do it, but it also gives a lot of energy back, as you know.
I think not just your hosting, the AI summit we did,
Oh,
sponsored by UKG, was
yeah,
3 hours of really, really interactive discussions. Have some great ideas as to how to do it more often, more frequent, and even get the tables talking more and people talking more. But that 3 hours was great. Tilly, thank you for saying
yeah, thank
yes, and
you.
thank you for being there. John, thank you as well. It was a great session, great dialogue, and lots more room. We could have taken 3 days
I
with
know.
with that small group of people. So
I
thank
got
you.
a lot of requests for us to repeat share that content outside the room, and we're happy to do it, of course. And also because it was a conference for practitioners, they obviously prioritized seats for operators, practitioners. And this conversation around doing AI well is as much for the solution providers as it is for practitioners. And so, yes, yes to all of you who said, do you have something for us?
Hey, let's do our own conference.
I know. Oh my gosh. Tilly, we got a lot coming.
Stay tuned. So on that note, let's move on to one big thing. One big thing or oh shit moment this week that you had. I'm gonna start because mine's just gonna be goofy. But I'd love for you guys to put in the chat your one big thing or your oh shit moment this week. It would be great. For those of you that join frequently and those of you that don't, this is I actually there. I should say that because there's a lot of people on here that are probably new. We do this every week. We've been doing it every week since March 13th of 2020, when the day that COVID hit. And we've
Yeah.
been doing it as a way to build a community and to keep people together. Okay, so I'm so excited that you guys are here. We do it every week. It comes out on Apple Podcasts if you miss it, um, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the concept here is to build a community and to love. Okay. And we talk
Yeah.
about lots of different things, including our lives, our kids. We cry. There have been people in this community that have gotten married. There's people that have gotten divorced. There's lots of people that have gotten new jobs, et cetera, et cetera. There's people that have gone through rehab, and we share all that stuff and we
Yeah.
share it in a real kind of way. So when we talk about our one big thing or our oh shit moment, we talk about things that we've accomplished that make us feel something this week.
Mm.
Um, so, and it's funny, we try to read some of these and the people that listen to them on the podcast afterwards always laugh, but you know Lisa's daughter finalized her career housing. I'm almost an empty nester, and that is my oh shit moment. uh,
Oh,
it is a crazy oh shit moment, Lisa.
I
I
hear
could
you.
talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Frank heading to Florence to visit my twin girls during their study abroad, then taking them to Venice. Amazing.
Wow. I love
knee,
that.
knee replacement this day in 2024. Wow, love that, Steve. Thank you for sharing. Torin, one big thing. The young king, is that him? Attended South
I
by
think it would be
Southwest.
Torrin, you've got two boys, right? So one of
Oh,
them.
okay. For the second time and is building his digital marketing business through meaningful connections. Torin, I have one of those as well who was at South by Southwest, and I'd love to connect and share stories. Had a job interview for a role I'm really excited about. Incredible trip to Iceland. Got a
Mm.
group of colleagues to join a Women's March Madness challenge, which I love. Drove the first time in 3 months after quad tension rupture on. Oh, Dominic, that is amazing. Not that
Woo.
all these aren't amazing.
Yeah.
Pulled in at the last moment to review an RFP. Sorry. 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 I have a bad
RFP.
starting my new role. Diana, asked to do a podcast from New Zealand. Love that. My house and family
Wow.
survived 7-ton meteor breaking the sound barrier and breaking up within miles of us. Holy cow, Cindy. Uh, that's a lot. Picking up a new Airstream tomorrow.
Oh, Jerry.
I saw, dude, I saw a picture of Jerry Crispin. I forgot who he was posing with. He looked svelte and hot as, I mean, sorry, should have said, but he was good looking. I mean, the hat was on fire. Uh, Renee, finalizing my divorce in 2 weeks. I think congratulations. Uh,
She has a celebration emoji, so
okay.
congrats, Renee.
Good. So my one big thing has to do with foam.
I think I already know. Go ahead with the story.
Does anyone want to guess? Foam.
Has anybody been to or witnessed a foam party? God, I can't believe I just set this table for you.
Oh my God, yes. So I ended up in a foam party swimming pool with my 18-year-old and all of his friends in Dominican Republic. The day before Jess and I did our AI summit, somehow I managed to get from one to the other, and there will be no pictures ever released of this moment. But I have to say it was the time of my life, and the fact that like they were all chanting Jason for me to get in the foam with them, and all the parents were wondering why. And a bunch of them said, Jason, you are so hammered, and they didn't know I don't drink,
Right.
that I was just happy and high on life to be with them. That was
Oh my
definitely my
God.
one shit or my one big one
One
shit
big.
moment.
If there's ever an OET slash
It
OSM.
was definitely my one shit moment. So there's a lot of other things. But I'll share one more. One of my amazing students at College of Charleston just got an amazing new job that I helped him. He had 5 interviews to get the job. He just landed his job at a company called Ramp. He's moving from Charleston to New York, and really, 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 really excited for him. So those are my two one big things this week,
Oh.
with the exception of being massively proud of Jess and everything she did on stage this week.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I love these OBTs in the chat, by the way. So, since I left you all hanging last week, my one big thing is the update this week that my youngest daughter, Bailey, an eighth grader, trying out for the high school fast pitch team, made it. But we're not allowed to celebrate because, in her mind, this is not one big thing. This is NBD, no big deal. Like, was there ever any doubt? Literally, she's so offended if you congratulate her. Like, come on, was there ever any doubt? But we're very excited that she went for it. Honestly, the fact that she made it is super exciting. The fact that she had the guts to go for it was the big deal, that we were all rallying around her. She was the only eighth grader to try out for the high school team. It was not a shoe-in, it was super competitive. And I think she's going to pitch because they're short. We'll see how it comes out. So she's going to be pitching for high school. Be very
Yeah,
exciting.
let me just tell you, it's a precursor to you're going to be in the foam pool. That's all that is. It's just a precursor to you're going to be in the foam pool.
Oh God. Oh God.
Hey, I really like next big thing.
Oh, I like that.
NBC, like Richard Grossman, like we need to send him something.
I love
We
it.
may need to use that one going forward. I like that a
Yeah,
lot. I
I
like
love
that.
it.
Anything else? We have an amazing guest. She's a
Like
freaking
literally
kick-ass,
nothing else because we want Lisa on.
like kick-ass rock star that I'm
I
so
know.
so excited. And believe it or not, we all live in the exact same city,
I
and
know.
we never spend any time together, which is sad.
Okay. I love that the chat is already bring on
Yeah,
Lisa.
let's just bring her on. I mean, we're 2 minutes ahead of our normal time.
Right.
It's great to have you guys. Love you all, and let's bring on Lisa.
Oh,
There she
Lisa.
is. How are
Good
you? Oh, she's showing
afternoon.
off the ink.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I got a whole bunch going on. It's kind of my new
I
passion. I get bored on a Tuesday night and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Aloha Monkey and get a new tattoo. Like, whatever.
Aloha monkey.
Yeah, that's where I get all my ink here in Minnesota. They're the best.
Oh my God, they should change their name to Arctic Monkey. If you were listening to the show last week, we talked about Arctic Monkey.
So, funny thing, my now 18-year-old daughter took me to their concert 2 years ago at the Armory, which, for those of you that don't live in Minnesota, the
Great
Armory is
venue
one
for
of
that.
the best places to catch a concert.
Yeah.
I had no idea who they were. By the time I left, I think I was standing on a chair dancing more than my daughter was.
They're so good.
They were
Wow, I
amazing.
don't even know who these monkeys are. Like, I'm still. I think we're gonna have to have at our Minneapolis meetup, Jess. Can we
Yes.
get the monkeys to play the Arctic Monkeys?
They're kind of a big deal. So they're not going to be easy to get, but let's go for it.
Okay. Well, either that or the Bodines.
Or the Bodines. That would
I'm a
be
big
good.
Bodines fan, also.
Yeah.
A little too light for Lisa. But Lisa, what's shaking?
I mean, like I said, I'm in this last phase of my life with my last kid getting ready to go to
Mm.
college.
Is that why you got those grandma pictures behind you? Like my
Mm.
83-year-old mom has those same picture frames when those pictures behind her.
With the
Those are my three beautiful daughters when they were tiny and sweet.
oh, oh yeah.
And now they're 27, 20, and 18. And sweet is not a word I would use to describe them all the time.
Sassy,
Uh-huh.
sexy.
Sassy,
What would be the
sassy,
sassy?
courageous, snarky at times. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wonder where
So
they got that. I wonder where they got that shit from.
I have no idea. It must have been their father.
I
Exactly.
always say that's the problem when you raise them to be hellions. Now you're
Right.
literally raising hellions.
I am. I
So,
mean, my youngest even decided, like you all know, I'm from Nebraska, like go Big Red, huge Husker fan. My
wow, they
daughter,
just won their first
they did
they for the NCAA game ever
first
yesterday.
ever. I know. And she's going to the University of Iowa. Like,
Oh, oh,
like
Oh
I'm super
man.
glad she's staying close because right, it's like it's not a bad drive from where I'm at in the Twin Cities, but I'm like, could you have picked somebody that's like not a rivalry to the Huskers? Because like
right.
that's gonna be hard.
Well, you do have a lot of corn in both places.
Yes.
True.
I mean, there is some corn huskers. Iowa should be the corn huskers. Like,
Yeah,
there's some similarities. So, for those of you that don't know Lisa, like, there's no possible way Jess or I could do justice. She's
I
been a
know.
mentor of mine, even though she's a lot younger than me, for a long time. Lisa, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and what got you into why you know us even.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, y'all know I'm here just south of the Twin Cities, have three incredible daughters. Um, been a CHRO for 15 years. I fell into this role, to be honest. Like that, if you all don't know me, I grew up in sales and product,
You like
which
when
kind
people
of
call you crows, by the way? Someone else, I was with someone, they're like, they said, we need to get a group of crows together. And I was like, crows? Like,
I'm not
that's
sure how I feel about that. I don't like
That doesn't
crows.
work. We're just going to
yeah,
do CHROs
yeah,
or
I don't
CCO.
like crows. Do
I
you?
don't like crows at all.
Black crows are not bad,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I don't know. Can you not refer to me as a bird? Like, can we pick a
Right.
different spirit animal?
If we're going to do a bird, we need like a phoenix or something.
Yes. Thank you.
who
Thank you.
is your spirit animal, by the way, Lisa?
Oh, it's funny. This is so not cool, but it's a llama.
Mm.
And the reason is my kids have always called me Mama Llama. Like that's what they have me in their phones
Aw.
as. And so that stuck. I also, I mean, llamas spit at you. And if you irritate me too much, I might spit at you. So it kind of
I
fits.
think you have spit at me. Yes, actually. So Mama Llama, sorry, continue your story. I just had to go down
Yes.
that path.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I mean, I met Jason and Jess actually when I was on the product side of this. So I ran some of the talent management product for Ultimate Software before it was UKG. Joined Ceridian as the head of product, and then one day David Ossip tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You should be our chief people officer." And I said, "That's the worst decision you're ever going to make. I'm literally a walking HR violation. Like I don't agree with half of what HR is about, right?" So here we are. I've tried to stay in HR tech because I'm super passionate that I get to be the economic buyer for the companies I work for on that side, and I think it allows me to stay attached to my sales and product roots while also getting to deal with the really cool people stuff.
Like literally no pressure demoing to somebody who's been on the sales and product side and knows everything there is to know
Right?
about a great solution.
So Llama
Yeah.
Mama, tell us about your new gig. Like, what's this? Where are you now? What are you doing now?
So I've been at Perceptyx for about
Sorry,
3.5 years.
Mama Llama, not
Yeah,
Llama.
that's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Yes, I've been at Perceptyx about 3.5 years. When I first got reached out to about this opportunity, what really intrigued me was a number of the people who I loved and adored that I worked with way back in the early days at Connexa had made the migration to Perceptyx. So without feeling squishy and gushy, like it kind of felt like coming home. Now, let me be
Mm.
clear, I don't subscribe to work as a family. Like I have a family that I don't look at this company as my family, but it did feel like I was coming back to my roots. And it has been a lot of fun over the last 3.5 years. Our company has radically changed in the last 18
Mm.
months.
I
So,
think
oh, go ahead.
go
Go,
ahead,
no, no,
Jason.
no, 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 go.
I think that's important for companies to retain the ability to metamorphosis through it. Like, I can't, just coming out of a conference, and Unleashed did a great job, of course, of content and programming as they always do, but the vendors are all the usual vendors, a lot of new ones I've never seen or heard of before as well. But I have to say, I did hear from a few people who are speaking differently. Not enough. Like, we all need to speak a little differently as conditions around us change. So I love that you just said that, by the way. Like, every company should be changing and evolving as fast as the market, or try to keep up, but as fast as the market is asking us to. The ability to morph your own identity and keep growing into, the landscape and the opportunity is really, really important right now.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, first of all, I'm so sad that I missed Unleash. But I think one of the things that I get challenged with, obviously, and I'm very, very grateful that I have a CEO who knows what my superpowers are and creates the space and the capacity for me to focus on them.
Does
But
he know all of your superpowers?
no, and we're going to keep it that way. So let's not discuss them on this call, please
Is
and
he
thank you.
friends with Facebook on Facebook?
Um, yes. So, but I think, everybody always assumes that HR is the slowest to adopt. And I think in some organizations that's true. At Perceptyx, it's not. We're the ones that are leading the charge. And I think that that's super exciting. We're blowing up, old mindsets, old ways of doing things. And it's not being met with resistance, which is really exciting. It's not being met with resistance from our people or from our leadership. So I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So Lisa, let's talk
Mm.
because I was doing some research. Jess knows I researched our guests thoroughly before these shows, and I was doing some research on your company blog, and lots of talk about engagement.
Mm.
Lots of talk about engagement, and
Mm.
to me, one of the things that came up in the AI summit is we were talking about how can we engage on a more frequent basis? How can we measure engagement or understand how people are feeling on a more frequent basis? And one of the things that's curious to me, I'm curious about, is the concept of engagement and what you guys are doing there. A, and then B, I'm going to get a little more radical about this. Is it still the right measurement?
Mm.
uh, I'm engaged. Like I'm really engaged in this conversation. I mean, I feel really engaged, even though I probably look like shit because I haven't slept much. But like, is that still the right conversation to be having? And Brad just put active listening in the
Mm.
chat, which I think is interesting. So, as a leader, I mean, one of the top 5 leaders, I'd say, in this space right now, what do you say re-engagement?
This won't be a surprise to the people that are on the team up here from Perceptyx today, but I don't care about engagement scores. And I said this the very first year that I was here and we were doing our listening event as an organization. I was actually meeting with some of our
Are they
consultants.
the same, Lisa? And you just switched from engagement to listening event midstream there, and I think that's really important.
Um, so no, I no, they're not, right? And my reason for switching to that was we were having a conversation about that listening event that was focused on measuring engagement, right? And we started talking all about our engagement scores, and I finally was like, I don't care what our engagement scores are. And like obviously that was not that was not received like the way that I expected it to be received. And the reason is like engagement, first of all, is a lagging indicator dressed up as a strategy in most organizations.
Mm.
Engagement measures how people feel, not what they do. And I've worked for organizations that had a very highly engaged workforce, and some of them were walking off a cliff because nobody was measuring whether that energy was actually pointed at the right outcomes. And
Yes.
so for me, engagement is far more about like what is the actual impact of people being pointed in the right direction, having an understanding of where the organization is going. And that is not something you measure once or
Mm-hmm.
twice a year, right? Like and then we shifted right in talking about engagement, and then everybody started talking about continuous listening, and it was less about engagement, more about continuous listening. we have as many signals as we possibly can at Perceptyx because we obviously drink our own champagne. It's not about the signals, it's about the activation. Engagement is nothing if you're not continuously working on how you're changing behavior, right? And so, no, engagement is not something that I get excited about. I get excited about what an engaged workforce who's highly energized and marching in the right direction is doing around revenue, cost, and risk. But as important, those who are not, what is that doing to our business and financial performance? That's the lens I look through.
Mm.
So, question.
Yep.
Uh, Christopher just wrote something in the chat that said, whoa, never heard it said this way, and so clearly. Should we kill? And anytime you say that, it always makes a headline, just like your
We're
headline
killing
that you
something.
just like you said is that engagement is dressed up at what did it say it again? Strategy, engagement
Yes,
dressed up.
absolutely. It's completely dressed up as strategy.
Yeah. So should we kill it?
I um
Brad just
I
said it at the exact same time I did in the chat. Should we kill?
yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
what I heard you say, Lisa, is that we should direct it.
you should. You absolutely should. Like, listen, I think the reality is engagement became the universal metric because it was easy to measure and it was something that was easy to be presented to an executive leadership team or in some organizations to a board, right? But it's at that time, it was, in my opinion, it was kind of a proxy that we collectively agreed to treat as an outcome. Engagement is not an outcome, right? And so I think the companies that, like the companies that we work, we have some really work with, we have some really provocative customers that are shifting this. The ones that are pulling ahead of their competition aren't optimizing for engagement. They are optimizing for behavior change that produces business results. So
Mm.
do you kill engagement? No, you don't kill listening and getting the signals because that is absolutely critical. Like, I want to be really clear. What
Yeah.
our people think, how they feel, how they show up is incredibly important to me. But unfortunately, for a lot of organizations, that's kind of where it stops, right? And so
Yeah.
I don't I don't want engagement to be like the participation trophy of HR metrics because that's kind of what it is. It's like we've hung it on a wall in terms of championship, like a championship trophy, right? Like we want to be here. You can have really high engagement and still your business is not performing in the way that it should be,
Mm.
right? And I think that comes down to some people will just answer a survey a certain way, but the way they show up at work looks very different. The energy, their performance, how they're interacting, like it's very different.
Hey Lisa,
And
do you know this Sarah Jorgensen chick?
she happens to work for us. She's one of our workforce transformation consultants that does a lot of consulting with our customers on
Yeah, she's
listening.
dropping some pretty big truth bombs here in the chat. So
Chick.
yeah, whoever the Sarah Jorgensen chick is, bombing the party for the first time, she's definitely on fire.
We
But
love her.
the a question that I had about this is because I was at a client or 2 weeks ago before Dominican, which you're going just
I am Wednesday. I'm leaving with my daughter and 8 of her friends and families, and I hope to be in a phone party by the end of the week.
It's on the agenda.
It
well,
is on my
if
agenda.
you're
I
going to
already
the
got
Hard
on the
Rock, if you're going to the Hard Rock, it's in Punta Cana. It's a
we're not
group
going
went to Hard Rock, a group went to St. Regis. The Hard Rock is foam party. The St. Regis is not, just in case you're wondering.
we're going to Breathless. So
Breathless.
It sounds like a
yeah.
freaking adults only porn club.
Okay, well, did you have to say porn club? Because now I'm worried that I'm going with my 18-year-old daughter.
Oh, see, Steve saved us. He saved us. It's just a hot yoga resort, Lisa.
Thank you, Steve. You're my new best friend. Thank
Brad,
you.
the St. Regis party's in Champagne, by the way. It's
Oh
Oh.
my
not in
God.
not in
These
foam.
all sound horrendous to me.
Just wait, Jess.
Jess,
But
your
Little
time
Kid
is
yoga
coming.
in a jungle, please.
but the question that we just lost the explicit non-explicit rating again, clearly. But the question I was going to ask you was, because this came up at a session 2 weeks ago, is this HR's job to own engagement? And
No,
what do you
no, I'm
good?
not even gonna let you answer the question.
Well,
No.
and what do you do? I was on your leadership page earlier today. what do you do to make sure that your leadership page understands that it's not HR's job? Because Steve just said, then who?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I equate it to the same thing. People used to always say HR owns culture. Bullshit. Every single leader in the organization, sorry, you said porn and I can't say shit. You said shit like 5 times.
I love it. We're getting
Uh,
truth bombs here. Let's keep
right?
going.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's right. Like people, when I first got into the CHRO role, people came to me and said, "Well, your team is responsible for our culture." No, no, it's actually not. Like the way every single leader shows up every day and works with their people, the way people show up every day, culture is how you do things around here. And a team of HR people do not define that. Just like engagement. Like if our CEO came to me and said, Lisa, on your executive scorecard, you're going to be held to an engagement metric. I would say, with all due respect, no, I'm not. Because, right, if you don't have the right leaders, if you're not enabling people, if you're not giving them the right experiences, engagement happens in the small moments that matter across a person's experience at your company, right? That does not start and stop with HR. Do we help enable the
Yeah.
experiences? Absolutely. I will take full accountability for that, but I don't own engagement at Perceptyx.
So what do we, oh, Jess, I'm sorry. I should shut
Well,
up.
it just goes back to what you said, because that treats it as if engagement is the outcome, that engagement is the means to an end. So it should be engagement for what? Like, why do we think measuring engagement matters in measuring the ultimate outcome? Then it becomes a useful tool to see if you're on track, off track, where you might tweak and refine things. But remember, it's sort of engagement for what? For what
Right.
purpose? What are we really measuring successful completion of?
So, Lisa, just like performance management, I think is a terrible
Oh God, don't
phrase.
get me started on that topic.
It's like, so do we, that's where I was going with engagement, I guess, is does it need to change? Because well, the minute you say engagement, people they think of once a year surveys. Oh, and by the way, it used to be interoffice mail. Oh, and before that, it was mailed to your house. And then it took 6 months. Sorry, old. Take 6 months to get the results back. George, clutch the pearls. But all of a sudden, the results were shit. And HR made up a bunch of stuff saying, oh, everyone's engaged. The leader said cool. Or some leaders got back a report that said X equals 8 or N equals 8 and here's your engagement score, but you had no idea what to do because it was anonymous. Like,
Yeah,
what effing good is that?
yeah.
So, for me, the question is, can we reinvent engagement or truly? Oh man, Jessica's engagement survey closes today. Well, Jessica, here's my advice. HR, email everyone, say you'll give them a bonus if they fill out their engagement survey, and then I guarantee you're going to get good.
100% completion.
I guarantee you're going to get great data. Sorry. But all that being said, Lisa, can we reinvent engagement, or is it one of those things that just needs to, it's just another tool, maybe, but we shouldn't take it that seriously.
No, I mean, I think, Sarah made a good point in the chat.
Of course she did.
She's really smart. Like this is where I have to have people like her that help me think through certain things because she's much smarter than some of this than I am. But listen, engagement is important when it's centered the right way. I think what we really need to recenter around though is the real measures that matter today, right? And I'm saying today because just to your point earlier, things are evolving at such a rapid pace that what matters today may not matter in 6 months, hell, in 6 weeks, right? Like our company has pivoted multiple times in the past 9 months. And I feel like we've done 3 years worth of work literally in 2 quarters. But I think we can recenter it around measuring what really matters, right? Are people actually moving the needle or just highly satisfied while being busy, right? And that's how we think
Mhm.
about productivity in our organization. Engagement's not really going to
Oh, I
tell me
love
that.
that. Highly
That is
satisfied
so
being,
good.
yeah, like,
Highly
sorry.
satisfied being busy.
Sorry, Lisa, we're gonna have to go back and get the transcript and we're just gonna make a bunch of t-shirts.
Yes.
I'm in.
Highly satisfied being busy.
Yeah, I mean that's true, right? Because I remember when this was way back in the day when I worked for Connexa and we were doing engagement surveys. We had a customer who had very high levels of engagement, and they had really low attrition. And they were like, "This is great. It's because we've got a very engaged workforce." Well, after spending some time with the CHRO and digging to lots of other things, what we learned is they had just done a massive like initiative across the organization where they did a lot of promotions. They gave people significantly large raises. And I was like, so essentially what you've done is you've paid people more and given them bigger titles to not do anything additional. Why
Mm,
would people be engaged if that's the measurement, right?
right.
So like that's why I would say like what matters today is like not having a highly satisfied workforce that's busy. There's things that we deal with all the time, like how fast does your workforce absorb change and keep executing, right? Is it a survival metric or is it adaptability? Because those are different things, right? Like, are your people really adapting or are they surviving? And then I think back to the culture, the engagement thing, like the single highest leverage variable I think in business performance is leadership effectiveness. Not do employees feel good about their manager? Like, is that team performing? Is their productivity higher? Is their revenue per employee higher? Right? Like, because who wants to answer a question that's like, no, my manager doesn't care about me?
Right.
Like, who's ever going to answer that negatively unless they're a really pissed off employee, which then like figure that out, right? But I think that's where I don't want to get away from this because listening and signals and engagement is really important. But I think we got to start looking at other things. Like the biggest gap right now that I talk about with my team all the time is talent velocity. And it all comes down to skills velocity. Like, are our people closing gaps faster than the market is opening up new ones?
Yeah.
That's really important to know. So I think I don't want to kill engagement in any way, shape, or form. I just want to shift how people think about where that is focused, where that is going, what is it driving, versus just looking at a metric and thinking that's an answer or a thing to celebrate.
You're reminding me, coming from the talent side of this space, you're reminding me of how I used to talk about good talent. Good talent should be restless. We always
Mm-hmm.
talked about talent the right way too, talent retention. Good talent should always be restless. And
Yes.
thinking that retention is keeping them quiet and happy. Your job if you want to retain good talent for both benefit, for mutual benefit, is to know when they're restless and ready for more and to be able to feed it to them for your benefit and their own growth and happiness. So restless talent, it's your job to keep recruiting your own people
100%.
and to constantly be developing them into something that's valuable for you and valuable for them. And I love the way you're talking about engagement in the same way. It's your job to know when and how people can be better deployed for your value and their benefit. Like this should be a two-way street always. And we've always kind of thought of it the same way as like um, okay, good. Everybody, I still love the way you said that, happy, but not, yeah, sort of like who's that serving if we're not actually moving the needle and I'm just happy over here doing much of nothing.
Well, and I think, you mentioned a really critical piece of this. Like when we look at our customer data, when we do our own research, whatever, right? Like a lot of people do cite like opportunity, growth, development, et cetera, as a big reason they either choose to stay at the organization or they choose to move on to something else. And so I think there's things that we have to think about there too, right? Like we are definitely not we are not starving for data and for
Mhm.
for signals. Our people are starving for action, right? And I think about if there was something that I could try and help CHROs do with the evolution of engagement is then move past the data, move past the signals, and start moving to where that behavior change and that learning and development is happening. And let's just be real clear. I am not talking about training. I am not talking about courses, right? Like learning and behavior change happen in small moments. They're in conversation, they're in context, right? Nobody has ever changed behavior because of 45-minute course that they just went to, right? And we've
Right.
known this forever, but we keep building the same thing. And so that's where like I saw somebody in the chat wrote a question, and this is kind of where I was headed with this, is like, are the listening experiences better for the human or for AI, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Um, uh, it depends on the human. I'm not always the best listener. So maybe you'd actually get a better experience talking to an agent, right? And having a conversation with it. I think we have to just be open to changing the way we've thought about some really traditional things in this space. And conversational learning is something, I know, Jason, you and I talked about this before. Like, we made an acquisition a few weeks ago that we're super excited about. But conversational learning meets people where they're actually at, in the flow of work, in the moment of need, not at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in a conference room or on a Zoom call running through some slides, right? That's not going to help me. I'm a
Mhm.
squirrel. I'm like literally a squirrel. I am not going to remember 90% of what you share with me Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. What I am going to learn is when something happens in the moment, when I'm actually working through something and that conversation presents itself when we start to get to talk, right? So you need
Jason, are
humans.
you agreeing or raising your hand?
I'm both agreeing and raising my hand at the same time. Um, just because I want to get this out, I want to get this question in because it's really important. So, Lisa, my I haven't caught up with you for the last month or so, but my 21-year-old, came back from Asia and now is working for a company in Austin. And I don't know if you know anything about your kids when you text them and then they don't text back, and then all of a sudden you just have a row of blue of your text on one side and then nothing on the other side, and it feels kind of empty. It's almost like me texting Jess. Uh,
I knew that was coming.
but all that being said, he called me at 9 o'clock last night, and he's like, "Oh my God, Dad, the CEO like slacked a few of us and said, I want to go sit on the patio at the Four Seasons in Austin and talk about the war and do some vibe coding." And he's like, "Oh my God." And he's like, and I said, "Hi," I said, "Ben, how was it?" He goes, "It was the best steak." which
Oh,
which was funny,
sick.
that he brought up the food first. But the next thing was, um, he's like, "I just felt heard."
Mm.
And I guess my question about that, and the reason that I thought that was so important, back to what we were just talking about, is how do you take the concept of the whole human into account? So, like, everything we're talking about here is performance,
Mhm.
outcomes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're dealing with a lot of shit stuff outside of work. Like, I don't believe, do you believe in the war? Yes or no? Are you watching the stuff that's happening from an anti-Semitic standpoint? Are you believing in some of those things? Like, what do you do to, or do you, excuse me, I shouldn't have gotten that far. Do you bring the whole human into this conversation? And is that something you think about? Or are we going to be sterile? And are we just going to be, let's just talk about work, and how you show up and what happens outside doesn't matter?
Uh-oh, mute. Mute.
Sorry, I was coughing earlier and I didn't want to cough over all of you, so I muted myself. Um,
That was because you just got out of the swimming pool, probably.
it's not open yet, and someday we have to talk about the horse in my pool. That's a story for us to catch up on next time. Anyways, I think there's definitely a need to bring the whole human into the workplace. I am so for that because, I mean, let's be honest, there is no, well, I've never believed in the concept of work life balance anyways. It's always to me been integration and fluidity. That's more profound today than any other time in our history, right? And so I think you're missing an opportunity to really be impactful to your people if you tell them, like, you have to leave your shit at the door, right? Like, I remember being told that once when I was going through my divorce early in my career, like, you have to leave that at the door, you got to show up here. Let's be honest, that is not how that works. And like Renee or whoever it was earlier, I celebrated too. So
Mhm.
but no, I think you absolutely have to create space for that type of conversation. I do think we've got to be there has to be some caution there too, right? Because we're humans by nature are emotional
Yeah, do
creatures,
you see
right? We
Steve's
have
point?
feelings.
You see Steve's point he just wrote? Do we really want the whole person at work?
Yeah, I mean, I think every organization, and I love that comment, Lynn. Yes, assuming work is not part of life, and that's the thing. So I think there has to be a fine balance, and some leaders are really good at that, and others are not, right? Like, I want somebody, if they're having a bad day because they're being impacted by the things that were happening here in Minneapolis a few short weeks ago, I want them to feel safe coming into work and being able to have that conversation. Now, where does that conversation end, right? Like, do,
Mhm.
do you have different opinions? Do you have different political points of view, different thoughts on the war, right? Like, some of those things have to be settled and or kind of pushed down. But to tell a person they can't come to work feeling a certain way and that that's supposed to just be left aside, I fundamentally disagree with.
Hmm.
But it's a hard balance, right? And our kids, like I think about my daughter in the workforce and the things I even think about her when she was going to college, like some of the things professors said to her, I'm like, you should not be saying that to my 19-year-old daughter, right? And I let things slide because I'm like, well, maybe academia, never been in the workforce, but there are just certain things that I think you have to be thoughtful about.
So when you, oh, Jess, go ahead.
I don't know. This is a whole rabbit hole for me. I love this topic. I have famously called BS on bringing your whole self to work for a long time because most employers don't deserve or know what to do with a
That's
bunch of
true.
whole selves walking in the door without creating psychological safety, without defining rules of engagement, without proving that you have earned the right to know what to do with all of these whole people. Most employers don't care enough to create that kind of environment, or it's lip service. And so I agree with everything you said. However, I think the burden of proof is on the environment, employer or whoever, to say, you can and should, and here's why. And like we just, this is a
Okay,
whole show for
let me
me.
go to a let me go to a
But
different.
I love everything that you
Let me
said
go
and
to
how
a
it's
go.
on
Let
it.
me go to a gopher hole instead of a
Oh
rabbit hole.
God.
Rabbit
Okay,
hole.
Okay.
or in Minnesota. So let's talk about how often. Let's talk about frequency. So frequency of listening is another thing that comes up a lot.
Hmm.
So, we used to do these things once every 2 years. Then we're like, oh, I have an idea. Let's do them once a year. Listen once a year. Now, if we talk to our spouse or partner and ask them to listen to us once a year and that's it, sounds a little bit odd. But when we start thinking about frequency, is there a right frequency? A. B, are there different levels based on the leaders in the organization and what they listen to? And I'd love to talk a little about how Perceptyx sees this from a measurement standpoint, because to me, listening without action is actually negative. And well, I shouldn't say that. It can be negative if
Hmm.
you just ask for feedback constantly and then you don't do anything about it. So I'd love for you just to maybe you're so good at finishing my thoughts. I hope you know where I'm going with my statement.
Yeah, and I would say I don't think there's a one size fits all, first of all, because to your point, back to what you were saying, Jess, a lot of that has to come down to the organization, how they think about listening, how they think about signals, et cetera, right? But like let's just look at like where we've gone, right? Like I think we've built, and sorry, not Perceptyx specifically, but we've built one of the most sophisticated listening infrastructures in history, right? We went from satisfaction to engagement. Now we've gone down this path where people are talking more about continuous listening, right? The challenge is when you talk about those types of things and do almost nothing with it, that's a problem, right? Data isn't the problem. We are not, I don't know any CHRO that I talk to on a regular basis that doesn't have a lot of data coming at them. The challenge is behavior change, right? And so I equate this to like there are some days that I feel like I'm drowning, and our company is not nearly as big as some of the Minneapolis-based companies here, which some of our customers. We are drowning in signals, and we used to be starving for action. That's kind of the way I've talked about it because, again, most organizations have more than enough data to actually know what's broken. The gap isn't the insight, right? It's the last mile of like, how do I get leaders to actually change what they do Monday morning, Wednesday afternoon, Friday, as they're wrapping up. And so for me, it's not so much about the actual listening itself because again, maybe another t-shirt, but like continuous listening without continuous action is surveillance, and that's what we're doing.
Mm.
Like let's just be really
Oh,
clear.
Ooh,
surveillance.
Surveillance. Well, I
yeah.
mean, be honest, like you're asking a people a lot about how they feel. You're basically monitoring what they're feeling, and your people know the difference. So back to your question, Jason, if a company just listens, eventually people stop talking. People stop responding because
Mm.
they aren't feeling like anything changes. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, CEO, I've told you this is broken for the last 3 surveys that you've sent out to me. You're wasting my time now. And
Mm.
that point, you actually are eroding trust, right?
Yes,
So
totally.
I think that's the thing. Like for me, when I think about like what's the next frontier around engagement and listening, it has got to recenter on behavior change at scale. And that means moving from dashboards to in the flow of work nudging. It means not reporting, but coaching. It means not here's your engagement score, but here's the specific thing your team actually needs to do differently this week.
Mhm.
That's where the momentum really comes from. And I think again, back to what I was saying earlier, the companies that are forging ahead and that are really winning on employee experience are the ones that are not listening the best. They're the ones that are acting the fastest on what they actually hear.
I love that. And
Uh,
that's, the question earlier was a good question. Can humans listen, or I'll flip it, can AI listen better than humans? Like, who cares what A maybe, I mean, pros, cons, flip the coin. But what AI can help do is close loops faster. It can crunch
Yes.
data, process insights, nudge actions. Like it can literally help us close some of those loops faster, which is the whole point. The whole
Mhm.
point isn't listening for data. The whole point is to get somewhere different and better and to keep measuring, did that work? Did this happen? And are we moving forward?
so, so Lisa, I'm sick. So I'm actually sick of doing these conversations without it changing anything.
Yeah.
Mm,
Like truly, I am. And back at Marcus Buckingham Company, I had this conversation about performance management, and I failed. Um, so like, what are you doing to change this? Because I mean, Sarah is your biggest fan.
and vice
Like,
versa.
yeah, you're better at the quotes than she is. She's better at the science, it looks like. You make t-shirts, she makes like Bibles. But all that being said, like what can we do to change it? Like, and why is it not changing? Like, it goes back to, I mean, to me, is this an education issue? I
Mm.
mean, Jess and I were at a session in Vegas, what, yesterday, the day before, about what people are learning in college. Like, we're still teaching old school engagement concepts. Like, why is it not changing?
Um, I think, well, one, I think it's first, it's a conversation that has to be had amongst the people who can actually make the change, right? And I think this is one of the areas where I am beyond grateful for the relationship that I have with our CEO, because I am not the people person. I am one of his most strategic business partners in the organization, and we have these kind of conversations. We bring in other, executives, we bring in other leaders, and we have the hard discussions. That's where it's got to start. You have to acknowledge this isn't working. And what's fascinating to me, in a little side note, I had the distinct pleasure a couple weeks ago of taking on as our CHRO. It doesn't fit in a normal model, but it fits in my brain. I now also oversee our commercial renewal team in our business. Which most people would be like, why the hell do you have a renewal commercial revenue team under HR? It fits, like it just fits. But part of that is, I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of our customers, and a lot of our customers are now finally having that conversation amongst the executive team around, like, we've got to stop asking certain questions, and looking at engagement, and we've got to start focusing on business outcomes. And I think that conversation is uncomfortable for some people, because it's like, well, we don't want our people to think that the only reason we're asking questions is to drive business outcomes. No, but there is a path forward. Like, let's all be honest. And I don't think there's a single employee at any organization that doesn't realize company goes out of business, I lose my job. Like, and if they don't have that connection, that's a bigger conversation for a different day. But so I think helping like the executive team get on the same page and start to be more provocative in how are we explicitly driving the performance of our organization? How are we specifically ensuring retention, speed, et cetera? And starting to just talk about it. Then, I mean, you got to recenter. I keep going back to that. Recenter on this isn't about listening. It is about driving behavior change at scale across organizations, whether you're 400 employees or 400,000 employees. The problem is the conversation seems to happen in HR a lot. A lot of CHROs I talk to, and even some big ones here locally, the conversation is staying in HR.
Mm.
It's like my philosophy around ERGs. If a bunch of women get together and talk about how they don't have a seat at the table and their voice is not heard and it's just a bunch of women, nothing is effing going to change, right? You
Right.
got to have your allies. You got to bring other people into that conversation. That's missing in a lot of organizations because back to the question at the beginning, some CEOs think engagement is owned by the CHRO and it is their responsibility to figure it out. We've got to stop that mindset. We've got to have the conversation, even if there is friction and tension. That's when big things happen.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, Jess, before we close this out, I just have to call out Rebecca Warren and Torrin Ellis are passing notes in class.
I know.
Like they're passing secret love notes in class instead of putting them in public for us all to see.
I don't
And
know if it's possible they don't already know each other, but
yeah,
if
and I
this
have FOMO because I want to see what the F they're talking about.
but if this is like literally two people who need to know each other, making a connection, like this is about to be epic.
Yeah, look, and
I love
like
it.
now people want more Torrin Ellis notes. Yeah, the fact that those two are passing love notes, I'm honored.
They're gossiping about you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. See, now you guys, you're making like you're kind of like an HR love connection. Remember that game back in the day? Or am I too
Yeah.
old and nobody else remembers it?
Does he like you or does he like you like you? That
Yeah.
question happens every day in my house with three teenage girls.
Uh,
Jess, over to you to close us.
Next week is our 300th episode. Can you believe it?
that's exciting.
I know. Do you guys want to know the special guest? Every guest is a special guest. Lisa was a special guest. Do you guys want to know the guest or do you want to be surprised?
Surprise,
Surprise,
surprise.
surprise, surprise. Okay, okay. Everybody have a great, amazing weekend. Look, check your LinkedIn for next week's guest, 300 episodes in. Uh,
Congratulations.
I know, a long time.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Lisa.
Lisa.
We
We
love
should get
you.
together. You'll take part in the Minneapolis meetup when we do it
Yes.
I love it.
at your pool.
Yes. Absolutely. I would love to host people out here. I've got plenty of space. Come on out.
Yeah, we'll charter a flight to get there.
Hey, I'll have foam,
With
Steve.
foam.
I will
Foam.
have foam.
And there will be a horse. A horse will be in the pool with foam.
No more
Thank you
horses.
thank you for your first timers here. I hope to see you back again soon. Hope everyone has a
Yeah.
great weekend. Love you all. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.